in university, actually. He and I both went to school in Halifax. We had some similar friends, and he worked on a few projects that some of my friends worked on.
It wasn't until I moved out to Vancouver, and then I realized she had also moved out west because I saw her. She was in the paper getting arrested for paint bombing the Olympic clock.
When I was 17 years old, I had graduated from high school, didn't really know what I was going to do next, and I ended up going to Europe to be a live-in nanny in Switzerland for a year. During the Christmas break that year, we had Christmas in France with the extended family, and there was an aunt who had on this beautiful Austrian sweater. And I fell in love with it and said, I don't care how much it is, you have to tell me where you bought that. And she said, oh, I made it. And I couldn't believe that someone had made something that beautiful. And I told her, you have to teach me how to make that. So we went to the grocery store where they sold yarn, and I bought yarn and needles, and I spent the entire Christmas making this Austrian sweater. And that was the beginning of the addiction. In 2008, I took a break from the work I'd been doing. I was working as a legal advocate, and I got really burnt out, and I needed a break, and I didn't know what else to do. And so my husband suggested that I do something with my knitting, because that was the only thing that I really loved doing. And so I thought about it, and then just said, you know what, I want a yarn store that I feel comfortable in, that is in my neighborhood, that is all about community, that is an accessible space for people that maybe don't fit the mold of the knitter out there. And then 8 months later, I opened Bad Anna's Yarn Store in Vancouver. And it was a great place of crafting and community and learning. And, I had my sons. They both grew up in the shop. It was a beautiful, beautiful place to be. Owned it for about 5.5 years. And then we decided we needed a little something more. We needed some more space. We had sort of outgrown what Vancouver could provide. So we started looking around, and we knew that we wanted to find somewhere rural to live, that we wanted to be able to raise our own food and give our boys a connection to the land and to where their food comes from, that we couldn't do in Vancouver. And of course, we wanted sheep to be a part of that because we loved the sheep. And then we were visiting family in Winnipeg, in Manitoba, and we came across this posting for a 200-acre farm with a beautiful farmhouse and a big red barn, and we thought, we have to move to Manitoba. We can have this life that we really want right away. So we did. We packed up, sold the store, moved to Manitoba, and found what is now Longway Homestead. So now we're on the other end of the fiber journey, or the production. And this summer we'll be building a wool mill. So we'll be processing our fiber and yarn, as well as other people in the province's fiber and yarn.
This is going to be the main area of the mill. So we'll have all the larger, heavier machinery in here, and the bulk of the processing will be going on in the space. Everything on the farm we've been doing pretty much, well, with the help of relatives here and there for sure, which have been a big help, but mostly it's just been Anna and I researching something that we want to get done or accomplish, and then working together to try and build the things that we need, the infrastructure, the outbuildings, the equipment, and everything. So each step of the way it's been figure out what we need, try to get that, and then figure out what's next. And it's just been building like that, I guess.
In Canada, we grow over 3 million pounds of wool a year, collectively as a country. And most of that is sent to China, where it is turned into either clothing or rugs or yarn. And then it's shipped back to the companies that sell it. I felt like there was a real disconnect. What if we just skipped that middle part and we got wool growers and sheep farmers connected to the knitters and the weavers and the spinners and the dyers and the felters in the city that also would love to be more connected to their land base or to the animals that are growing their wool. The plan is to first of all educate folks on how that process happens and what's necessary for wool to get from the backs of our sheep to your knitting needles, and also to engage people in it, to have people out at the wool mill to observe the process, to see how it goes, to watch the shearing, to meet the sheep, learn their names, and then eventually work with their wool.
Okay, it like this. In through the front door, run around the back, down through the window, off jumps Jack. It's for my cat Cinnamon. I've been working on it for like a few days. It's been getting really, really, really big.
So my boys grew up in a yarn store. When Bowden was, 6 weeks old, he started coming to the yarn store with me. And Josh too, they both have grown up around wool and fiber and now sheep and their mom knitting all the time. And, often whenever they have to imitate me, they will imitate me knitting rapidly. But they've never expressed interest, they had never expressed interest, and I never pushed knitting on them. Sort of with everything, I figured if they want to do it, they'll ask. And last week, Bowden asked me if he could start knitting, and we sat down and he picked it up right away. And then Josh asked if he could learn to knit. And so now they both have their own little projects on their needles. And yeah, they're learning how to knit and they're so excited about it. They just love it. So it makes me very happy that they both want to learn and that they're starting to get it. You picked it up really quickly. Mm-hmm. You picked it up quickly too. I don't know if when Luke married me 10 years ago, if he realized that his life would be filled with wool and fiber and knitting and fiber arts. But we're a really good team, and he definitely is more than just napkin sketches. He is the backbone. He makes everything happen, and I love working with him. We have a really unique process of crazy ideas and then breaking it down step by step to see how we can actually accomplish it. She is the pure optimist, and I would say I'm a rational skeptic. I wouldn't go as far as say I'm a pessimist, but I think together when we work on a plan, those two forces really counter each other. So we'll come up with some big crazy idea and work with how to accomplish that and sort of meet somewhere in the doable middle, I guess. We grow all our own vegetables and we raise some livestock for meat. And so he is also very committed to the idea of being connected to where our food comes from, being connected to our land base, but have the farm be a hub of fiber arts related activities, and to really celebrate the opportunities and the resources that are produced in Manitoba.